Here's my official townhome report, which gives you inventory supply in different price groups and an overall supply in different quadrants of the city. As a seller, you really want to know what's happening in your quadrant. As a buyer, you want to know if it's a good time to make a great buy.
To help make our stats a little bit more relevant to you, I'm going to divide up the city into different quadrants. We're going to do the inner city, the northwest section, the southwest, and what we're talking is west of Sarcee, because we would consider anything east of Sarcee to be inner city. The deep south, which would be Fish Creek, Chaparral, Mahogany, all of these south areas. And lastly, we'll do the northeast. At the end of the video, we'll go over the whole market so you can compare how your numbers match up with the overall. So we look at the inner city townhome condo market. We had 55 sold listings in the inner city in the month of October. They were priced at $322 a square foot, and the average was $340 a square foot. Now the sales prices here were most people were buying is around $430, and they were $1,313 square feet. Now we look at how that compared to the previous month, 67 sold listings in that month, as opposed to 55 the month later. So September was a little bit better. And the prices were also a little bit less in September. So a little bit better for people who sold in October for pricing, but there was a few more sales in September. Now we look at the previous year, we actually see we're down from last year as far as the unit numbers, but the sales prices are up almost, $20 a square foot on the average and about almost at $20 a square foot on the median price. And where most people were buying last year was $403,000. And now they're buying it for $30,000 for a similar sized unit. Now how that inventory supply works out is we have 168 active listings. That means we have about 3 months supply. So we actually do have an oversupply of townhomes on the market, and those are priced on average. These are 1,300 square feet, where the median is about the same as it was. And the interesting part is that when it comes to townhomes, we're looking at the buyers are really looking for units that were priced between $434 and $467, and the list prices are $569 to $591. So really, there's not much there for the buyer at those lower price ranges, and also those are priced much higher at $383 a square foot on the median, where most of the heavyweight is, and $394 on the higher side of that. So for inner city townhome buyers, there's not as much available on the lower priced units in the inner city. So now we'll move on to the northwest section. So moving on to the northwest, 80 sold listings in the northwest for townhomes, priced at $280 a square foot, where the heavy weight of buying is. The average was $316. We had a high sale of $2.1 million out there. And when we look at the sold listings, 69 sold listings for the previous month, and a high sale of $555. So what did that do to our averages? It did a little bit to our averages, but the median heavyweight was actually lower. So the median group was $280 a square foot, and last month it was $282. And we're buyers, most of the median, so the average would be a little bit skewed high because of this high sale price that happened. So we got to look at from a point of view of this particular price right here. So when we look at the previous year, we're actually up from the previous year. So we had 62 sold listings last year in October. Now those were priced at $258 on the median and $271 on the average. We had $1 million one here sell, so that might have increased our market average a little bit. Now looking at the inventory supply, 80 sold listings compared to 108. There's not much supply for townhomes actually. A little more than a month's supply. And where they're priced at, let's see. They're priced at $358, and the buyers are looking for around $336 on the median. So there's going to be some units going to be available for people. They're going to like their bigger square footage, and they're priced very much within the market of where they should be, looks like to me. Now we're going to move to the southwest section. We're talking west of Sarcee, Aspen, these areas, Signal Hill, and so forth. So moving on to the southwest, 31 sold listings, and that's out in the Aspen area that way, past Sarcee, and they were selling anywhere from $461 to $490 That's the price, 461, and the price per square foot was 321 to 344, and they were 1369 square feet to 1431. Now when we look at September, the previous month, 37 sold listings in the month, and they were priced between 315 and 339. Now compared to last year, we got a third more sales, priced at 297 to 295, and the sale prices are much higher than they were. If you can look, 402. Looks like our market average got crushed by something, and it got crushed by the high sale that never happened. But the square footage prices are in line with that. So when we look at the inventory supply, we can see that we have 41 active listings and 31 sold. So that's a pretty close race. There's not that much available out there, and it's priced between 344 a square foot and 358. The buyers are really looking for 321 to 344. Looks like the square footage is a little bit higher, but most of it is still it's going to be in the right range. Having said that, the buyers were looking for prices of around 460 to 499, and they're starting at 498 on the median, where the heavyweight is, up to 544. So what's left remaining on the market is higher priced for the buyer, and they may have trouble stepping into that. But certainly there's not a lot of supply, so it really is the seller's market out there. And now we'll move to the Deep South. Evergreen, Silverado, Cranston, Mackenzie Town, all these south areas. Okay, so for that Deep South area, 82 sold listings, and we've got the price between 271 and 281 and per square foot. And we compare that to the previous month, 87 sold listings in the same in a month, and we've got from 274 to 280. So the prices were very, very similar to the previous month. The sales prices were the same as well, and the sizes of the units were almost very similar. And we compared the previous year, 68 sold listings, so there's more sales, about 10 more sales or 12 more sales up there, and 243 a square foot was last year's pricing, so things are definitely up. 243 was the median and 253 was the average. So when we look at the inventory supply, we can see that there's 98 active listings. So there's not that many townhomes to buy. If you're a townhome buyer, for active listings, we have a little bit more than a month's supply. So you got to act quick. Seller's market down there, and the prices are pretty reasonable. They're priced at from 329 to 350. The heavyweight is 329, and where people were buying the previous month was 334 was the list pricing, and where this price per square foot is 283 to 292. So they're lifting up a little bit, but not much. So you can expect that with that little amount of supply that's remaining. And next we'll look at the northeast section of the city. So moving on to the northeast, we've got 41 sold listings. Now don't get at the end of this video, we're going to go over some inventories. So if you're not interested in northeast, don't sign off just yet. But we've got 41 sold listings, and 235 was our sales price on the median, where the heavyweight is. 245 was the average, and the price per square foot is 220. Now when we look at how that compared to the previous month, sales were definitely higher per square foot and a little bit higher on the sales prices, and we had 43 sold listings, very, very similar for September. Now we compare that to the previous year, we're definitely up for unit sales, and we're definitely up for sales prices as well. Let's see what skewed this number. This number was higher because our high sale was only 346 and our high sale was 349. That didn't skew the number, but the square footage price did. So we had a small a unit that was 1,500 square feet that sold for 520 square foot. So it increased our price per square foot price by a substantial amount. So I would say these prices are very, very similar without that. Usually the median is not skewed, which meant that the heavy weight around 240 is where the market was in September. Now we look at the inventory supply. 101 active listings, a little bit over 2 months supply. So it's not really it's a balanced market, but it's not a seller's market there. And what's happening is we got about the same square footage available, and the price that buyers were looking at 242 to 252 in price. The median where the heavyweight was 242, and 239 is where the median group is now of the active listings. So interestingly enough, that is in the right group. Having said that, they're priced higher, $237 a square foot. So that means the heavier weight of the listings is smaller, and it's priced, $17 a square foot higher, and here almost $10, $12, $13 a square foot on the average. So what's left on the market is priced a little bit higher. Hopefully it's a little bit better units that are available. Okay, so this is an inventory supply for all of Calgary on apartment or condominiums. So when we talk about inventory supply, we're talking the blue, dark blue is what's sold last month, and the light blue is what's available now. Now we can see that in the overall market that there's an oversupply of condos available. Now when you get, of course, down here, there's actually 2 for every 10 selling, below 110 available, below 150. And here we've got a little bit over 2 months supply in 150 to 200. So if you're thinking that the condo market is great, I'm going to say the condo market is okay, but there's actually an oversupply on the average. Now, if we want to look at how that compared to last month, we can look at the fact that we actually had more inventory the previous month. So it's down a little bit, and that might be because it expired, possibly, and it's come off the market. Some of it, of course, is sold. But you can see that the sales were a little bit higher in September than they were in October on the average. So for the condo market, the sales actually overall dropped and the inventory went up.
Since the year 2000, I've sold hundreds of homes all over the city. I can help you. And remember, as always, commissions are negotiable.